Hello. It's been a really long time since I've done one of these, but we have a full moon coming up this weekend on Sunday, July 21st. And I'm making this recording on Friday, July 19th. The effects of the full moon are usually felt for 3 days before and 3 days after, and we are definitely already feeling the effects of this full moon. This is really interesting time. We have some really powerful planetary configurations going on. Um, the full moon is at the very end of Capricorn, and so that means the sun's at the very end of Cancer. And the moon is in the same position as Pluto, the planet of death and regeneration. We also have the planet Mars, which is the ego and drive and sense of self and fight or flight. And it is in the same position as Uranus, the planet of upset, what's new, what's different, technology, the march to the beat of your own drummer, and the pull the rug out from under you planet. And we also have Saturn, which is discipline, responsibility, life lessons. And that's in the same position as Neptune, or it's close to Neptune, actually. Um, Getting close to Neptune, which is like the total opposite of Saturn. That's for like dreams, the illusion, delusion, drugs, make believe, magic. So it's a very strange time. What makes this time even stranger is that there's these like really intense planetary conjunctions, but they are all making positive aspects to each other. So it's an odd time, and they're all making positive aspects to each other. There is one difficult aspect, which is Uranus and Mars are making a challenging aspect to Mercury, the planet of communication. So this is like a Mercury retrograde, only it's like a Mercury retrograde on steroids. So we have things like that happened this morning where there are technology breakdowns, travel breakdowns, banking, communication breakdowns, all that happened because of the software update that the bad software update that then shut down all of the airports. A lot of Windows users experienced problems, and this was a worldwide problem. So that kind of problem, a lot of problems with transportation, communication. There could be power outages. In all honesty, with Mars conjunct Uranus, that's a very sort of explosive and who knows what is going to happen sort of aspect. So that aspect is at the very end of Taurus, the beginning of Gemini. So, if your birthday is at the end of Scorpio or Aquarius or Leo, or at the beginning of Virgo, Pisces, Gemini or Sagittarius, like this could feel like a very stressful time for you. I mean, it could be a very exciting time as well, but it's definitely a demanding time and one that really pushes buttons. Um, it's hard to say again with these aspects because they do all make positive aspects to each other, even with the moon conjunct Pluto, which is kind of like intensely emotional and can feel a little life or death. But that could be helping you out at the same time. So that there's two stories that come to mind here. One of them is that a friend once, when doing a reading for a friend, who had been going through a somewhat stressful period of time for a while. And she asked me, okay, so when's the break? I looked at her chart and I said, well, actually now is the break. That is true because come August, we have some of these planets move into difficult aspect to each other. And that's when things really start going. And when there's, especially around the time of the Democratic Convention, actually, it's a particularly trying time astrologically, where the dreams and reality definitely coming headbutting, doing a little bit of headbutting there. So be prepared. So the other story is a story that a friend of mine posted on Instagram, and she was reposting the story. I'll put the information in the comments to get to it. Uh, an Indian woman told the story of a bird who was dying of cold. It was freezing, and the bird was no longer able to fly, fell to the ground, and was having its last breath when a cow comes along and poops on it. So it seems like adding insult to injury, but the poop was warm, so the bird started to revive. As the bird is reviving, it starts to tweet. And a cat walking by hears it, comes and pulls it out of the poop and kills it and eats it. So, what is the moral of this story? The moral given is that uh, not everyone who shits on you is trying to do you harm, and not everyone who pulls you out of the shit is has your best interests at heart. One could also argue that the moral of the story is that when it's your time to go, like it really doesn't matter what else happens, you're going to go. But that's not the moral given. In any event, the previous moral that sometimes things that appear to be not so great are actually oddly protective. And sometimes things that seem like they're great are really not going to help you out very much at all. This is a good thing to remember these days. It's also really important to drive carefully in the next week or so, and to be very careful about what you say, what you put into writing, what you commit to words, because that's definitely something, and that can come back on you, and that the tendency to get into unnecessary fights that don't really go anywhere because of a misperception of reality. That's definitely there for everyone. Since so many of the planets are on the cusp of changing sign, and so many of the major planets, Pluto just moved into Aquarius, but now it's moving backwards. Uranus is moving backwards after being ready to go from Pisces into Aries, and Uranus is getting that was Neptune is getting ready to go into Aries, but now it's moving backwards. And Uranus is at the very end of Taurus, getting ready to move into Gemini. It's like this is a time of major transition. And all of the aspects around it are kind of like heightened in a way where it's very difficult to tell what's real and what's not. This is true for everyone. This is true of the astrological weather. Those who can traverse this period of time well, um, that's a small subset of humanity, because almost everybody is going to find themselves somewhere either getting shit on or stepping into it. But again, maybe that's not necessarily a bad thing. All right, well, enjoy the full moon, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.